Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Bareham Engines. Well guys, I hope you had a wonderful Easter. It's Monday, no one else is here, and you're probably wondering why we haven't gone to Perranporth like we said we would, being Monday. There's two reasons for that, guys. One, as you may be able to hear, I've still got a stinking cold. And two, although the weather's been great for the last 2 or 3 days, it's dreadful today. So the only reason I've come back is to do you guys a video and also to just check something on this Golf engine that I've noticed a few people have put in the comments. So first of all, guys, before we go on to that, just want to thank you all for subscribing and hitting that notification bell. But I do notice that the subscriptions have slowed down the last week or two. A lot of people are watching the channel who haven't yet subscribed. So if you haven't, guys, please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and you'll be notified whenever we put a video up. Also, hit the link down in the description below, guys. You can see I'm sporting the new Bareham Engines merch. I've got a few examples, really good quality stuff. So if you haven't already, get down there. We've sold loads of stuff on there actually already. So moving on. Right, one of the reasons I've come in bright and early this morning on the Monday is I noticed a few people commented on checking the balance shaft. I expect they've had a look at what I showed them, and the only one thing we didn't take out was the balance shaft. So this morning I've come in, I've took the balance shaft out, guys, and to be honest with you, feeling it felt really nice and snug, but then the seal can give a bit of a false feeling. So I've checked these bearings and they're absolutely fine. There's a couple of little marks here where obviously the bearings have been put into the block, but that is not going to affect your oil pressure because your oil hole is over here. Same with the back one. So I've measured those two, and compared to the journals, we've got about 2 thou running clearance, so it's next to nothing. If you put that shaft in without the seals, guys, it feels lovely and snug. So that is not an issue. But thanks ever so much for your advice. That's, as I said before, that's really one reason why I put things like this in the videos, because there's a lot of guys out there who've got a lot of knowledge on specific engines that we don't deal with that much, and you can usually find some of the advice is really helpful. So thanks ever so much for that. So that's the Golf at the moment. Can't go any further. I expect this week the owner will be in to have a little look himself. We'll discuss where we're going to go from here. But yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Before we go any further, it's a shame really we haven't gone to Perranporth, because when we went to Castle Combe 2 or 3 weeks back, we really enjoy the fact that people turn up, come and say hello. To be honest, driving the cars, you know, obviously great fun, but also meeting subscribers and people that watch the channel is great. There's some really lovely guys out there that took the time to come over, and you know, it's really good. We really enjoy it now. So it's a real shame that we couldn't go to Perranporth today, but there's just no sort of cover out there, and if it's blowing a gale, I don't feel up to it. But yeah, it's really nice that we're sort of, you know, getting noticed and what have you, which brings me on to Saturday. I've got to tell you, Saturday, I took the kids into Greg's to get them a sausage roll and a drink. And I sat down at the table. It was quite busy, and there was 2 ladies sitting opposite, and one of them sort of double took looking at me, and she said, "Lee Marshall from Bareham Engines." And I was sort of like, "Ooh, all right." And she said, "Oh, I have to tell you, your voice doesn't half annoy me." So I said, "Oh, none taken, love." I thought that was really funny, but she says, "No, my husband watches you all the time," and she says, "You know, it just drives me nuts." But we sort of laughed about it. But yeah, it's quite nice that we get noticed. It almost feels a little bit like fame, but it's not very often. But anyway, guys, moving on. The reason for today's video, the main reason, still on the subject of the MGB. Just to recap, we've got another letter come through. We've obviously been in touch with the owner of the vehicle, but he wasn't originally our customer. Our customer was the garage that he was dealing with. And it's a garage that we've done stuff for before. So it's a shame really that it's sort of gone the way it has. I'm not quite sure how it even got like that, but you know, we were absolutely fine. They did have a couple of issues with, I think we did 1 or 2 engines for them. They had 1 or 2 little issues before in the past, but we sorted them out. You know, if If we got them to do the little job, then we just paid them. It's not a big deal. You know, everything was absolutely fine. But you know what it's like when you do an engine. You get things like oil leaks and stuff like that. You can't be helped. But anyway, we've done this one. And just to recap quickly, they said it was smoking badly. So they wanted to bring it back. We had the vehicle back. We took the head off. I think they had a bit of an oil leak from the front covers where if you take the covers off the side of the MGB, you can see the push rods. So they've had a bit of an oil leak from there. So I think we sorted that, but the engine was smoking. So in the end, we said, listen, obviously because it's one of our engines, there's no issue whatsoever. We're going to take the cylinder head off. We're going to take the pistons out. And we're going to check everything that could cause the smoking. Obviously, we'll strip the head out, check the guides, although we did the guides. So we've done exactly that. But in the meantime, the garage kept getting hold of us, and he was right on the back foot. He was very sharp on the phone and very sort of pushy. So we took the head off, and we checked, obviously, the guides, which are dead tight. We took the rings out, and there was a very odd sort of bedding in wear pattern on the rings, if you like. It's pistons and rings that the rings come on the pistons, but it's pistons that we've used all the time, or we've used quite a lot in the past, and we've never had any issues, to be honest. But we got an inspector over, and he had a look at everything. Now, the one thing that we did notice is the PCV valve we took apart, and the diaphragm had split, come away, and it was sort of folded over. So the diaphragm was doing absolutely nothing. And it looked to us, and the inspector also said, it looked like you can't possibly set the carburettor up properly with the PCV like that. So we took a sort of sample of the oil, and he said, just by the smell of it, it absolutely stunk of petrol. So it's obviously been running rich. The bores were glazed. What the inspector did notice on bore number 1, you could see, I didn't bore it, one of the boys did, but you can see where the bore mark, where it's sort of been bored. So I honed it out. He said that may be a cause of it smoking, but very unlikely. Bear in mind, back in the day, they didn't even used to hone cylinders. So I took about not even a quarter of a thou out, and it cleaned it. So we shouldn't think for 1 minute that was causing an issue. But the rings throughout the cylinders were all looking the same. So basically, it was sort of unconcluded, really, as to what had happened. The bores were very glazy. The rings obviously just hadn't bedded in. Now, the letter that we've just had is from the owner of the vehicle, and he has forwarded on, like I said in the last video, he forwarded on an invoice for one of the covers. He said there was leaking again. So in the end, he's took it away from this garage for whatever reason, and it's gone to an MG specialist. They've sent us a bill for about 300 quid, which we agreed to pay because they got this oil leak. Now, what we did on one of the side covers, which was still leaking apparently, we put the rubber gaskets on. Now, the rubber gaskets, as you all know, that's all you can do. They were the original cork ones. If the covers were a bit naff, they could play up, but the rubber ones really should have cured it. So I'm not sure what happened there. But anyway, we agreed to pay that, no problem. But what this letter is here is he's forwarded on another invoice from the original garage, the ones that got sort of shirty, and it's 300 odd quid again. Now, first of all, the bill on the first page, it's got an amount of 300 odd quid plus the VAT, but there's nothing on there. So you turn over the page, and there's a sort of list here of things that they found wrong with the vehicle. Now, what we have said, and the reason for this video, is we said we're not paying this bill. And the reason for that is it was unconcluded what the problem was. He's saying in here, I mean, there's a list of things he's saying. He's saying that the rings were like 50 pence pieces. Now, how he knows that, I do not know. Rings are not machined like 50p's. They've all just sort of not bedded in. The wear pattern looked a bit 50p-ish, but they're still round. He's saying on here, obviously he said they were cheap rings, cheap Chinese. They were not Chinese, and little does he know that the same manufacturer of rings have gone back in the engine, and now it's not using oil at all. So he came in to inspect it himself. and he didn't inspect anything. He didn't look at the head, the guides or anything. The first thing he walked over to was the rings, and instantly, as soon as he picked one up, big problems with the rings, absolute crap, and they are the problem. My feeling was, with the way he was being on the phone before he'd even had a look, before we had even had a look at it all, bear in mind, we've never said that we weren't going to sort this out or have a look into it. He's straight on the back foot. As soon as he come in here, he grabbed the ring. He needed it to be those rings, because I'm suspecting, and I could be wrong, I'm not making accusations, but my feeling is the reason he's on the back foot, or the only reason I can think he is because he knows that really he probably should have changed that PCV before even removing the engine in the first place. I don't know. He said in here that he's set up, now we got the engine back, bear in mind we've sorted it with new rings and what have you, and it's he's set the carb up again, then he's put the old PCV on and it hasn't run. He put the new one and it runs with about 3.5 to 4.5% on the CO. Does that mean that the old PCV valve could have been causing the issue and he's had to set the carb up with that to make it run? I don't know, guys. It just seems a little bit strange how he's really got the ump with us when we never even said that we weren't going to get involved and help out, sort it out, you know, if it's anything to do with us. But yeah, there's a list of things on here. I mean, the owner admitted to us that the radiator was damaged. Well, we never took the engine out. We just had the cylinder head off. So I said, if the radiator's damaged and it wasn't damaged before, it must have been damaged when they took the engine out. We noticed few things like bolts missing when we had the vehicle in the second time to sort out. There was a couple of bolts in the bell housing that weren't in there. So we didn't sort of charge them for that. And we haven't, although it's never been 100% concluded, we didn't charge him for, you know, it may be down to the PCV. We just sort it out. We want to keep our customer happy. We want the vehicle to go right. You know, we don't want problems. But it's a perfect example, this, of potentially we could be lumbered with the vehicle and the overall cost when really it's something that, you know, someone that's piggy in the middle, like the garage or whatever, should have done things in the first place. I don't know, but this is just a prime example. I mean, a lot of people comment saying, God, you guys don't have some warranties. We don't really have a lot of warranties. And if you actually watch the videos correctly, it's very rarely that it is actually down to us in the end of it, you know, but the whole point of doing the videos is to show the whole sequence if we have a problem, where we sort of stand in it and all the issues that can arise for us, when at the end of it, ultimately, it may not be down to us. You've got to bear in mind also, guys, there's very little sort of comebacks considering how many engines we do, and not only engines, but a lot of stuff you don't see, like the cylinder heads and the rebores of the bike barrels and all the rest of it. There's loads of work we do, and 99% of the time, the stuff that comes back, whether we do a video on it or not, isn't even down to us. So that's the whole idea of the channel, just to sort of show you, and it's the same for any business. Do you know what I mean? They're all going to be going through this. If you think that no one gets any issues, no matter what they're doing, you're very much mistaken. It's just that you'll probably find on YouTube, people will not have the confidence to put issues of their business down onto video. It's all got to look perfect, but that's not the idea of our channel. And we have gained a lot of customers and a lot of respect and trust through us doing that, because people tend to know that if there is an issue that arises, we're going to be more than fair in playing our part to sort it out. So yeah, that is the reason I've turned around and said that I'm not paying that bill, guys. At the end of the day, all those things there, ultimately, we've sorted it out. We've ended up with the cost of sorting it. We've put new rings in. The engine's all fine now. He got a little couple of issues that he said that he got to us. He sent it to the MG specialist. We've paid the bill. End of story. But these guys, not paying the bill. We could play tit for tat here. I could start sending in bills for you know, for everything that I thought there was a problem down to them, but I'm not going to do that. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, just going to call it a sort of day on that. And yeah, you live and learn. But let me know down in the comments what you think, guys, about that situation, and whether you think that I'm right in not paying it, or whether I should, or which bit I should pay. Well, we are back in tomorrow, guys. BMW, Can't really go on a lot more about that until Mikey Dove's had it. Hope you liked the introduction from Mikey Dove on the last video. He was made up with that. Apparently he kept going on to his missus about it and she's sick to death of it. There we go. Until Wednesday's video, guys, please, as I say, hit that notification bell and please hit the subscribe button and we'll see you Wednesday. Have a great rest of your holiday. Cheers, guys.